Hi everyone. I'd like to read another extract from this book I've edited called Idries Shah Remembered. The piece I'm going to read was written by an astonishing person called Helena Edwards, who for decades was my father's secretary, and she had been all kinds of people all wrapped into one. She had studied with Gurdjieff and been a traveler and an adventurer and just the most inspiring person that I knew in my childhood. This is how this piece goes. I've called it Perfection and Flaw. At Langton House, life was never still. People arrived from all over the world, scholars, poets, spiritual seekers, diplomats, even the occasional misfit who had stumbled upon Shah's books and followed an inexplicable impulse to come and find him. And through it all, he remained the same, unruffled, perceptive, and always sensible, with an amusement at the way people tangled themselves in their own assumptions. One evening, I remember, a well-known academic came to visit. He had written extensively on Sufism, or at least what he believed Sufism to be. He spoke in elaborate terms, citing obscure Persian texts and referencing his own published works with the air of a man eager to impress his listeners. Shah listened patiently, nodding occasionally, his expression betraying nothing. When the academic finally paused for breath, Shah leaned forward and asked, "Tell me, do you like stories?" The academic blinked, clearly thrown off course. "Stories?" "Yes," Shah said. "Folk tales, teaching stories, fables, things of that nature." The academic hesitated, then admitted that he had not given much thought to them. "I prefer primary sources," he said. "That's a pity," Shah replied, "because if you had truly understood the primary sources, you would know that the greatest teachers always hid their knowledge inside stories and folklore." He gestured towards the bookshelves lining the room in which the meeting was being held. "Pick any one of these books at random," he said, "and you'll find a lesson disguised as a tale." The academic, who was flustered, eventually chose a volume. Shah took it from him, flipped a few pages, and began reading aloud a deceptively simple parable about a man who spent his life searching for treasure, only to discover it was buried beneath his own house all along. When he finished, he looked up and asked, "Now, tell me, was that a primary source or not?" The academic had no answer. That was how Shah worked, you see, not through confrontation or through argument, but through gentle nudges that unraveled a person's certainties, leaving them with the space to learn. Another time, a young man came to Langton House. He was bright-eyed and eager to become a student, convinced that he was ready to absorb all the wisdom Shah had to offer. He had read every book, he said, and had taken extensive notes, which he produced triumphantly from his satchel. Shah smiled, leafed through a few pages, and said, You were certainly diligent, but tell me, what do you do when you are not studying?" The young man blinked. "Studying is my main focus," he said. "And before that, I was searching," he admitted, "looking for the right teacher." Shah nodded. "And before that?" The young man frowned, as if the question confused him. "I had a normal life, I suppose," he replied. Shah closed the notebook gently. "Go and have another normal life," he said. "Make mistakes, live life, lose things, and find them again. Then, in 5 or 10 years, come back to me. If you still need to study, you will know how." The young man left that day, looking puzzled. I don't believe he ever returned. My favorite memory is a simple one. One afternoon, while I was typing, I had made an error, just a small one, but one that had bothered me. Sighing in frustration, I reached for the correction fluid. Shah, who had slipped into my office at that moment, gleaned what had happened, and he broke into a smile. "There's a story about that," he said, and before I knew it, he was telling it to me. "There was once a calligrapher in ancient Persia," he began, "who worked on a single manuscript for years, perfecting each stroke of the pen. One day, as he neared the final page, he made a mistake. As a renowned calligrapher, a master of his craft, he considered starting over again. As he thought about it, he remembered his own teacher's words, 'In every great work leave one small flaw. Only the divine is perfect.' I put down the correction fluid. That was Shah. He taught without forcing and guided without leading. Most of all, though, he let you find in your own time that wisdom had been there all along. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can hear the soft clatter of my typewriter keys, the rhythm of words finding their place on the page. I think of the stories that I transcribed for Shah, the lessons hidden within them, and the privilege of being the first to hold them in my hands."